Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Football Fignuts podcast. This is episode 29 of season 8, and if you're counting them at home all along, that's a lot of counting. This is number 350. My name is Britt.
And my name is Craig.
And Craig, we are back after another week off because it's the dead of fucking June, and nothing's happening.
No, not much. Not much.
I mean, Taylor Swift,
NFL stuff, anyway, but yeah.
Right, Taylor Swift showed up at Travis Kelce's tight end camp and sang a song. That's okay, great.
That's something.
Yeah, that happened. I'm starting to see rankings come out. Oh, yep. Before we even get into drinks and stuff, I'm going to do something new and exciting, and I haven't told any of the contributors this yet.
Okay.
We're going to have a sixth contributor. So you, me, the Source, the Cinch, and Sean are base 5.
Yep.
But we're going to have one more contributor to this year's consensus rankings.
Oh, really?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I am going to generate a ranking sheet using AI.
All right.
I've already tested it out. I went into Microsoft Copilot and I said, "Can you compile me a consensus list of quarterbacks for fantasy football this year?" And it went, "Hold on." And they came back and said, "Using widely available public information, I've compiled the following list," and it gave me 10 names. And I went, "Oh, but I need 25 names. Hold on. Here's the top 25 quarterbacks based on the consensus rankings I found." And I went, "Oh, we're doing this. We're doing this."
Did you tell it you were in a... Now, are you doing it in general, or did you tell it you were in a PPR 10-person league?
It actually asked me. So it generates the 25 thing list, and it goes, "Did this meet your needs, or would you like to tell me about your league settings to generate more accurate predictions?"
Ah, nice.
And I was like, no, listen, no. I just want something that's going to generate conversation here. I'm not trying to win my league with AI. So I would love to see this time next year how much more accurate the AI was each and every one of us.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So, but anyway, getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
What are you drinking tonight?
So today, because my allergies suck and it's like 100 degrees outside, that's like 34 Celsius, I think.
Yeah.
I have a Coke Zero. But before this today, over the weekend, we live in an area with a lot of farmers markets.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, picked up some 4-packs of cider. Now, here's my thing with cider. I don't like cider when you drink it. It feels like your teeth are going to explode. That's not the kind of cider I like. However, at this farmer's market, New England Cider Company was there, and they let you try everything. They also make an apple brandy, which is pretty good. But I picked up a 4-pack of their it's called Purple Rain, which is a blueberry cider with ginger, which is very good.
Ooh.
I loved it. I'm gonna have to get more of that because I really like ginger and I really like blueberry, and it's really good. And the last time I was there, I got their fresh blend, which is just their basic apple cider. But again, I can drink them because I am not a sweet drink person really. I can have like a little bit and that's it. But these are very, very easy for me to drink, and I don't feel like my teeth are going to explode when I drink them. And they're only about I think they're like 5.8%. I mean, they're between like low 5 and upper 5% ABVs. So not bad. Not bad. They're very good.
Well, I was a big cider fan. The cider boom really hit. The first cider boom hit in Connecticut when I was in college. Mm-hmm. So right around the time I became drinking age, about 30 years ago, was the first big cider
orchard.
boom. Even before that, there was a place called Chester Cider Company that I think is now Chester Brewing. But there was one that was imported, Hornsby's. It was an imported English dry cider. And I loved this shit. It was sweet but dry, so it wasn't like that. I get what you mean when you say like your teeth hurt, because ciders can be so sweet.
Yes.
Even when you ferment them, they can still be so sweet. This was dry. It was kind of like if you made a cider in an IPA style, you get that dryness at the end, and the shit was 7 or 8%. it was in the 90s. Well, yeah, let's see. When I was 21, it would have been 1996. Yeah, so about 1996. Beers weren't typically 7-8%. You got anything over 6, it was considered high.
Yeah.
So every payday, my roommate and I used to walk down to the liquor store by our dorm, and we would buy a case of this shit. We got paid on Thursday, and our entire mini fridge would be stuffed full of fucking Hornsby's. And on Friday, every Friday night, people would stop by. It was like we had like an open house format. We just left the door open. People would come in on their way to the bars. Oh, I'm going to see a concert tonight, or I'm going to the basketball game. They'd stop in, have a Hornsby's every fucking Friday. We both went home one Friday. We came back that Sunday night to a bunch of notes on our door. Where the fuck are you? We want Hornsby's. And I was like, guys, you're joking, de boost.
Nice job.
So yeah, and then of course my stomach issues later in life. I can't have it anymore. Anything that's liquid and has sugar in it is immediately going to put me into a fetal position coma. Which my doctor warned me about. My doctor warned me about years ago. It's like, these surgeries we're talking about to correct your stomach issues. You're never going to be able to have sugar the way you used to. I was like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And then I had a coffee with like 1 sugar in it, and I wanted to die. So.
Oh. So what do you put in coffee now?
Splenda.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Splenda does not. And what's weird is the doctor told me that Splenda may set it off too. Mm-hmm. So I tried this, and the Splenda did not. And the Splenda did not. He's like, he told me, he's like, I've never had problem with like the chemical ones, like Equal or Sweet and Low. He goes, but some people react to Splenda. Splenda's the closest thing I've ever found when I sweeten a drink. And I really only sweeten is coffee and iced tea. That's it. But yeah, I'll go to the store, go to the restaurant. Is your iced tea unsweetened? Yes. Well, then I'll have that as long as you got Splenda on the table, that kind of thing. Some more iced tea you've been eating. But that's something else. But to your point, it is super hot out today. It is about 104 right now with the heat index. It's supposed to finally break tonight. Connecticut has been in the hundreds with heat index for the last 3 days. So it is a bad idea to drink alcohol. So I'm going to go ahead and open this Road to Ruin. Normally for these podcasts, I'll put like 1 or 2 drinks, sometimes as many as 3 into a cooler if I'm going to be hanging out for a while.
Yep.
I brought 1 can in with me today. So
but it's a big can.
It's a 16-ounce can. They make like 20 and 24-ounce cans of like Road to Ruin now.
Yeah, I think I saw those. I forgot where.
Yeah, you can buy them single. Two Roads is kind of like, fuck this. You want Bud Light? I'll sell you the big boy. So, all right, moving on. What's burning on your mind this week, old friend?
Burning out takes. I mean, there's not a ton going on, really. I mean, we could talk about Aaron Rodgers again, but everyone does. Do
we need to?
This might be his last year playing, probably.
I heard that last year and the year before.
Exactly. So, really, one thing I found interesting is, where did it go in this list of no news? There was one thing I was like, oh, that's interesting, and then I scrolled the wrong way. Oh, yes. So, Robert Saleh is back with the 49ers.
That's a good hire. Doing what? And
I think he's going back to be the defensive coordinator.
That's genius. He was great as a coordinator.
Yeah, he was.
Just one of those guys.
Let me see. But anyway, George Kittle said his comments on this was, the violence is coming. That's what I would say. Do you think, given the changes the Niners offense has gone through, their running back situation where, yes, he's very good, but, he's kind of fragile, and after giving their quarterback a giant contract, and we all know how those year after giant contracts go.
Usually not well.
Do you think this was smart of John Lynch to get Robert Saleh back to shore up their defense?
Yeah. 100%. Number one, Nick Bosa is still there. And he got greatness out of Nick Bosa. Just keep Nick Bosa from being a meathead and you're fine. His schemes, there are guys who scheme well with anybody, and there are guys who scheme well with certain packages of talent. Mm-hmm. And then there's guys who can do a little bit of both. All right, again, I know I use my own team as reference up. Andy Reid. Andy Reid can scheme with a lot of different style of players, but he only wins championships when Patrick Mahomes is a quarterback.
Yeah, I
right?
see it. Yep.
So Don McNabb was mobile and he had success with Don McNabb, but he didn't win any championships with Don McNabb. So he's one of those guys who can scheme, but his most effective schemes are with certain types of players. I kind of feel like that is what I look at when I look at the Niners, because I feel like Nick Bosa is the type of player who is going to be able to go wherever Saleh wants him to go and do whatever Saleh wants him to do. I'm trying to look up and see if I can see his stats. All right, so his first year with the Niners was 2019. What year did Saleh leave to go to the Jets? Here, so Robert Saleh.
2 years ago? No, 3?
2021 to 2024. So that means he was there in 2019 when he was a rookie, and in 2020. The problem is in 2020, Bosa got hurt and only played 2 games.
Yep.
So Nick Bosa's full first season, 47 total tackles, 32 solo, 9 sacks. Okay, so now you're like, oh, well, that's pretty good. The problem is after Saleh left, they became dependent on him. All of his numbers went up. His tackles went from the mid 40s to the low 50s. His sacks hit double digits because they were scheming specifically for him. So now I feel like his skill set and experience now with Saleh coming back really lends itself to them doing really good things up front. And I think he's one of those guys also who gets a lot out of the people he coaches. I think this is a good move for San Francisco. I think that they're going to be better defensively. I mean, like, what did they? Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me pull up NFL standings 2024. San Francisco was 6-11. They gave up 436 points last year, the second highest total in the NFC behind the Cowboys.
Oh, wow.
You're telling me that he can't improve on that? He can't get them. If he shaves 30 points a season, say 34, just the math is even, 2 points a game, moves them up several spots. And if he can get that number under 400, 3 points a game. Well, no, 2 points a game would be 34. So that would be 51. If he can shave 3 points off the board every game, that's 51 points. This team would have been on the positive side of the point differential by just a few, but on the positive side, and would have been like the top 5 in the league, in the NFC rather, top 5, top 10, somewhere around there. That's a huge difference, and I think he can do it. So I think it's a good move. What do you think? Do you think this is a good idea, good homecoming?
I think so, especially with the, some of the questions the 49ers offense has over the last, the end of last season. I think you can't have both sides of your ball, both sides of the ball, like, not be good. See Bengals for that example. So I think this really shores up their defense. They might have the better defense in that conference now. Possibly. So we'll see. Yeah.
Just remember this. The San Francisco 49ers, even going 6-11, scored 389 points last year. That is more than the Seahawks and the Rams. And the Rams won that division. That's
scary. And the Rams are, I don't know. I feel like the Rams are on the way out for the most part.
Oh, I agree. But they were the second highest scoring team in their division behind the Cardinals.
That's crazy.
But the defense on the Cardinals and Niners was so woeful that they didn't finish in the top 2, and they finished in the bottom of their division, and the Rams win the division at 10-7. The Rams weren't dominant last year, guys. Not dominant. I think there's a lot of room for growth there. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of room for growth. Okay. For me, I encountered an interesting article on SI.com that has to do with the quarterback for Colorado. Julian Lewis is the quarterback in Colorado now, University of Colorado.
Okay.
And when he stepped onto the field at Colorado last fall, he became one of the first players in the nation to step onto the field with a name and likeness promotion. through an agency called Athletes First, the same agency that does name and likeness for guys like Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers, and Justin Jefferson. Okay. Now that the name and license battle is over, and the NCAA acknowledges they're going to have to pay and allow student athletes to claim name and license rights. Mm-hmm. This kid is set to make $1.1 million from the name and likeness rights alone.
Okay.
He is a sophomore in college.
Yeah, must be nice.
Craig, is this good or bad for the sport?
You know, I can see it being people having mixed views on it. I kind of see it being good in the sense because, let's face it, colleges make an assload of money off sports. Like,
they do.
It's a major part of their income, whether it's basketball, football, combined, whichever. I don't know how much baseball gets, but still.
Not much.
Not much. It's just basketball and football, pretty much.
Basketball and football are the two big ones, yes.
And especially with companies, you know, like EA, for example, making video games based off of them, like that season they're playing, the same as they do at the NFL, because NFL players get money for that from the PA agreement. So to me, it makes sense, although it gives this weird kind of aura around that, like, college, for certain people, college is becoming more of a job than school. Mm-hmm. So I can see it getting kind of murky if you go down that route of it.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I mean, most people who've listened to this podcast know I went to the University of Connecticut, and UConn famously has, you know, an amazing basketball program on both sides, the men and the women's side.
Let's not talk about their football team.
Well, they're getting better. I want to go to a game this year. It reminds me, I promised my nephew I'd take him to another game this year because he had such a good time last year.
Oh, good.
Even though we sat there counting my beers.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever.
Fine. Uncle B, that's your fifth beer. Yeah, I'm not driving, kid. No, it's only the first quarter. I know. It's fine.
You learn when you're older.
Where was I going with this? Oh, but I can specifically remember, because UConn is a state school, there are laws about disclosing their incomes, their sources of revenue, how their budgets work. There's all these laws around it. And I think it was the last year I was there, which was the year 1997. So the women had already won a title. They might have already won two. 95 was the Rebecca Lobo undefeated year. Although I don't know if we're allowed to use Rebecca Lobo's name anymore. I heard she got canceled over the last weekend. But I remember looking at the numbers and realizing that UConn's basketball programs brought in not only enough money to cover their own expenses and the millions of dollars they paid their coaches, but it made up for the shortfall in like 4 different athletic programs, including football.
I mean, that is impressive.
But you know what a lot of that was? Merchandise. Merchandising.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Where the real money is being made. Right? So a lot of that was merch. You could sell, back then it was Danielle Marshall. Danielle Marshall.
Yeah.
So you could sell T-shirts with his name on it and his number, and he didn't see a dime of it. The university saw all that money. Can't do that now.
No.
Can't do that now. So this is going to hurt colleges' bottom lines, particularly higher producing universities. Like, I think about the teams that have really good programs across both football and a second sport like basketball. Places like Purdue, Texas, Florida
State,
Oklahoma, Florida State. These are all places that are used to making a ton of money off of jerseys, and they're not going to make that money anymore.
Yeah.
They're not going to make that money anymore.
No, that's true.
I don't know what
it's a mixed bag.
It's
definitely a mixed bag.
And we're going to have to see how it works.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just see.
Charge more for tats, I guess.
Oh, Jesus.
Here's
tats are already like $25 a pop.
I know. Now they're going to be like 35.
Go on.
Here's another random thing, since there's not a lot to talk about. There's
random things is good.
There's a really short list of players. I mean, this list is probably longer, but in front of me, there's a short list of players who are free agents. Now, most of them, most of them are defensive players, so it doesn't really pertain to stuff we talk about. But there's a few offensive players here. So you tell me if these guys should be signed anywhere and if they make a difference. Okay?
Okay. Without looking at teams' needs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just based off what I know of this guy, can they go somewhere and make a difference? Okay.
Yeah. Number 1, Amari Cooper. Scroll down.
No.
Number 2.
I'm going to go no.
Number 2 on the receiver list, Keenan Allen.
Yes. He's just got to be used. He's got to be more comfortable with being a possession receiver out of a 2 or 3 hole, but he can still make a big difference.
All right. And third on the list, because like I said, these are mostly defensive players, your buddy, Gabe Davis.
I love Gabe Davis. Remember he had those like 2 games in a row and I'm like, this is his fucking breakout.
Yeah,
here he comes.
He did not have a good time in Jacksonville last year. And I don't know if that was Jacksonville or him.
Does anyone have a good time in Jacksonville?
Not anymore.
I'm going to say no. No. If Keenan Allen is out of work, then there's no market for Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
At this point in their careers, they're the same guy.
Yeah, I see that. I see these 3 guys are like, they're going to be, if someone gets hurt, they're on the call list, you know?
Yep. That's exactly it. They're sitting at home watching Sunday Ticket.
Yep.
With a couple of their bros.
Yep.
And all of a sudden somebody goes down with a really terrible injury and they're like, oh man, that sucks. And like 3 minutes later, the phone rings.
Yep. He's like, yep, I'll be on a plane tomorrow. Like,
yep.
There is actually, not that's going to happen. I know it won't because they don't sign anyone. But Asante Samuel Jr. is a free agent. Someone should sign him.
He's still out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
He's only 25. But yeah, the rest of these people are just older defensive players, and it doesn't really matter for what we talk about. So yeah, there you go.
But people forget about pro sports, particularly the NFL, because the NFL is one of your few sports that really does not have a minor league.
It's got college.
Baseball,
college is its minor league.
Yeah. But baseball, hockey, basketball, all of them have a developmental or a minor league.
Yeah.
That you can actively swap with. It's not like, oh, well, you got to start your year with the team or you're never going to play. No. You can literally get a phone call while you're playing for the Bridgeport Islanders to pack your shit. You're heading into the city because the New York Islanders need you.
Yeah.
It can happen. It doesn't happen in football. Guys get called up from the practice squad. The practice squad is the closest thing you have to a minor league, and it only plays during the week,
Yeah.
And Keenan Allen ain't signed to be on your practice squad at this point in his career. Ain't. He's got his money. He's either going somewhere to play or he's sitting at home.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
I think you can make the argument that like guys like Gabe Davis are sitting around waiting for that call, but people forget. So people forget, number one, NFL does not really have a minor league system. And number 2, everyone celebrates these drafts where 200 guys get drafted and they get the chance to chase their dream. That means 200 guys got to get cut. And the reality is more than half of them are be the guys that are getting drafted. So even if you cut the vast majority of the people who get drafted every year, there are 50 NFL veterans or so who don't have a roster spot because a rookie's taking it.
Yeah.
Mother Nature's cruel, man. It's cruel.
It's cruel, and so are NFL injuries. And let me just say,
yes,
because, when I was texting Bro over the weekend, I was melting in the sun in New York for a graduation. It was very warm, and we're sitting on the field.
Oh, man.
I don't know who planned to have graduations outside in the middle of summer, but they need to be kicked.
Oh.
Also, then I found out that this high school, they switched the time of the graduation every other year. So
what?
Last week, the graduation was at 11:30, which is around the height of the sun when it starts, being really hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next year, it's at 8:30 in the morning. I'm like, really? You can't just be 8:30 all the time in June? No? Can't do that?
What sadistic asshole schedules that?
I don't know. And then my nephew, he's a junior next year, so in 2 years when he graduates, it'll be back at 11:30. It's wonderful. But anyway, I was walking on this field. it's it's a newer field and it's got turf on it. Walking on it in sneakers, I could feel how it's easily to hurt yourself falling on this or like twisting wrong.
Stability wasn't there. Yeah.
I'm trying to explain how to.
It's like walking on a sponge.
Yes, it's like walking on like sod. If you wanted to compare it to grass, that's what it's like.
Yes.
That's exactly what it's like. And now I'm like, I walked on it and I was like, oh, I see now how you just sneeze and you wind up breaking your ankle and knee at the same time.
I've walked on fields like that where I step on the center of my shoe, but I lean left because the ground to the right is slightly more solid than the ground to my left. So yeah, rolling ankles, injuring knees. Yeah, it's. You remember when it was all AstroTurf? AstroTurf is the culprit. AstroTurf is terrible. Everybody's gonna die on AstroTurf. Well, we started to phase it out, and now this shit's not any better.
No, as I would argue, this might be worse.
Yeah. So another random thing I wanted to bring up. Oh my god, I'm yawning. This heat.
Hey man, it's almost over. It's almost over.
I can't. My stamina is gone. I was in bed last night at 8:00.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? It's because we have 2 levels here, so we have central air.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So it's where I am in the studio loft. It's open, so it's cool. It's like whatever the AC is set at. We have it at like 71 or whatever. But in the bedroom behind me, with the doors open and the vents open in the room because of where it is, it's 82 degrees in the bedroom. Yeah. I mean, the cat likes it.
By the way, don't forget that's. Oh yeah, you're broadcasting from the Blake Bortles Memorial Studio.
Exactly.
I'm in the Frank Gore Extension Studio. So yeah. Oh my God, I can't. I have no energy. But a quick self promotion. I am now doing a second podcast with some gamer friends.
Oh.
In addition to this one called Boomer Grounds. It's exclusively on YouTube and Spotify. So just go and search the word boomer, like a baby boomer, and grounds, like ground, but plural. And you'll find us. And our topic is we are older gamers, and we talk about games and gaming stuffs. So I want to run this by you, because I think this was a very interesting topic. I don't run this podcast. I'm just a contributor. So they came to me last week, and they said, Britt, you've got to give us the best game you've ever played and the worst game you've ever played.
Wow.
So, Craig, off the top of your head, video, console, PC gaming, what would you say is when it cuts top of your head, best game you've ever played?
Whew. That is a toughie.
It's hard. That's why I said top of your head. Don't think too hard.
I'm trying not to.
It took me about an hour to come up with my answer, so I'm with you.
Well, I can tell you, there's 2. Just as like pure fun for me, probably Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the pirate game. I love that game.
Okay.
Thought it was great.
All right.
One of the worst games, probably because of the ending of it, was Assassin's Creed 3. I hated the end of that game so much I threw my controller and walked away from the screen.
Wow.
Yeah. But probably one of my... Well, and another favorite game of mine, which I don't think a lot of people played, was called Spec Ops: The Line.
Okay.
The story just messes you up completely from beginning to end. So it's a very heavy...
It's a bit of a mind fuck?
Yeah, it is. Yep. So yeah. So what did you pick?
My worst games, I had 2. Because we're one of the few people on Earth that are old enough to remember E.T. for the Atari.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, that was literally the E.T. movie came out and Atari got the license late, but wanted it out for Christmas. So the game developers literally had 5 weeks.
Yeah,
from beginning to end.
Did you ever see the little documentary about that? He was...
Yes, the
crazy.
landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Atari was running ads for this game before it was even available in stores.
Yes.
That's how sure they were this was going to work, and it's just terrible. And I owned a copy of it, and I played it, and it was bad. It was very, very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other game was Shove It for the Sega Genesis, I don't know if you remember, but that was the box pushing game that our buddy John loved so much.
Okay.
So the worst games I ever played. Best games, I went with Star Wars Galaxy. I still miss the old Star Wars Galaxies game.
That was a good game. That was a good
I had that on my list. I had a couple new modern ones like Blueprints on the list. The original Dungeon Keeper
That was
I had
a
on
good
my
one.
list. Legends of Zelda. The original Legends of Zelda was freaking phenomenal.
See, that's the problem. You play
Dragon-
play games as long as we have, it's hard to pick,
It is. Dragon Warrior for the NES.
Good one.
Which came out in a time when RPGs weren't RPGs. Final Fantasy doesn't come out for like 2 years after that. And Dragon Warrior and Shining in the Darkness were amazing games that were early on in that genre. So it was a very interesting conversation. It was very interesting because I'm the oldest guy in that podcast. So
you're naming games that are older than people on the podcast. Isn't Terry older than you? Or is he the same age as us?
Terry's a year and a half younger than I am.
Oh, okay.
He's the guy who runs the podcast. He's just a slight bit younger than I am. But one of the contributors is 33 years old. Which means she was not alive when E.T. came out.
No, the movie or the game.
The movie or the game. So I just thought that was very interesting. I'm like, I gotta ask Craig this when we talked with him tomorrow. So now there's 2 ways to hear my dulcet tones on a weekly basis.
Plus your normal stream.
Or at least, and my normal stream. Which I finally figured, oh my God, I had such a nerd moment yesterday. I'll keep this short. OBS, which is the software that almost everybody uses to stream to things like Twitch. OBS is a resource hog. So when you open OBS, it sees your webcam and it takes sole possession of the driver.
Well, that's rude of it.
Like you try to open, it's just the way it runs. Same thing with the audio speakers. Try to run something else with your speakers. If it's not piped through a desktop audio system through OBS, it won't play. If you try to open the camera, like I want to take a picture of something, if OBS is open, it's already using the webcam, you'll get a no cam detected. It literally takes ownership of it. So if I'm doing a video podcast on gaming, I can't stream it at the same time. Now, can I? Except I found a way to tell OBS that every time I don't have the camera open in OBS, it has to release the camera driver. So I told OBS, I'm turning my camera off for the night, but I'm going to keep streaming. And I was able to still do the podcast recording as normal. I was very proud of myself for figuring that out. Very proud.
Oh.
I'm not the most technologically advanced person when it comes to streaming and stuff. So
Hey, as long as your computer lights weren't red or orange or whatever.
No, I'm looking at it now. It's blue even now. It's like 85 degrees in this room and the computer's still running blue.
Oh, that's good.
One of the folks, if you're going to buy a computer and you're going to have high demand on it, get a computer that has a temperature control light. Mine just illuminates on the exhaust fan, but it goes from blue up to purple based on how hot the computer is running, and it is fucking glorious.
Oh, so purple's the high end, like on fire.
Purple means your computer is literally about to catch fire. Yeah.
Good to know.
I've been to red. To get to red, I had to be streaming, running New World, and streaming Spotify.
All right. Okay, I can see that.
And this computer's 4 years old. It's 4 years old.
Hey, man, that's a good run so far.
It is. Don't tell. I'm probably gonna replace it next year, but
Shh, I won't tell.
yeah, it's a Lenovo Legion, and I love. Oh my God, I love the Legion machines.
They are good. I have one myself.
Yeah, it's just the Legion towers are just so nice. Honestly, the biggest problem I have with this machine is I'm running out of storage.
Oh, really?
It's got a dedicated drive for Windows files. It's got 2 drives. It's got a dedicated drive for Windows and stuff. And then the data drive is a terabyte, and it's full.
That's because of all your games.
I have games now that are 40 gigs just to install.
The base game. I know Cinch has deleted this podcast by now, but
Yeah.
the base game for GTA 5 is 96 gigs.
96 gigs.
Call of Duty
That's
is like
almost
100.
10% of my drive.
Call of Duty is like 120 gigs.
That is huge.
Yep.
Huge.
Remember when
Oh,
games?
my
Remember when
Lord.
games came on floppy disks, and CDs?
Yeah. Remember, like the original Baldur's Gate was so huge, you needed like 5 floppy disks to install it.
And the
Not
instruction,
5 CDs.
and the instruction manual was like literally a Bible.
Oh my God! It was like 85 pages long. It was bound. Mm-hmm. It was like a book. It wasn't
It was
like
a book.
2 staples in the corner. It was a book.
It was a book.
It was pages glued into a binding.
You know what? He actually, in another sidebar about games, you know what's a lost art?
What's that?
Game instruction manuals. Like, you know how like Nintendo came with like a manual and had like a little story about the game inside? I love those.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep. It's all built into the game now.
Yeah. It's not as...
All but I can't remember the last time I opened a game and didn't have to do a tutorial. Honestly, I cannot think of the last time I opened a brand new game and didn't mandatory had to complete a tutorial.
Yep.
That's the way they go now. It's cheaper for them to do. It's easier for people to reference because they can just go back into the tutorial and see what they missed. But yes, there was an art to it. You know, the original Legend of Zelda came with a fold-out poster-sized map.
Oh yeah.
And like the top left and right corners were blank. Like they tell you, here's like 3/4 of the map. Figure out the rest. Good luck.
Did you have the gold cartridge version?
Yes.
Me too. Got it for Christmas.
Yes. I think Adam still has it.
He probably does in his NES collection.
I mean, he's weird on that stuff. He loves to collect that stuff. But yeah. So anyway, well, I think we've bored people with our gaming talk long enough.
I'm sure we did. You know, it's there's not a lot going on, and it's hot. So
there's not a ton, and it's hot. That's really what it is. I barely touched this beer.
That's when you know it's hot, folks.
Yeah, I should have never even opened this beer.
It's sad.
I'm normally a beer number 2 by this point of a podcast.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put it in the freezer.
My wife's gonna be like, "What's this open beer in the freezer?" She's in art class till 9 o'clock. She got to know that. That's fine. So, all right, well, let's move on to final thoughts then. Craig, what do you got for your final thought this week?
Final thought this week is that if you may have not noticed, folks, we are way past January and February, and next week, well, a week and a half, it's going to be July, July 4th, 2 weeks, week and a half. So that means
a week from Friday.
Our rankings are coming soon, so get ready.
That you actually just accidentally stole my final thought.
Oh, sorry.
I was musing to myself today. I'm like, I told the contributors 3 weeks ago.
You did.
That I wanted rankings by July 4th.
He did.
I also sent them a schedule of what episodes will be done when.
Oh, Sean ignored that. He deleted that.
Yeah, I wrote it down somewhere, and now I don't know where. It might be in my notes on my phone. I don't know. But season 9 is only a couple weeks away.
Yeah, it's wild.
Only a couple weeks away from our season 9 premiere, and then it's right into draft prep, kids.
Wild.
Right in the draft prep. We're going to be finishing draft prep a little earlier than normal this year because I got some feedback that some drafts were happening. As many drafts as happen on Labor Day weekend, there are a lot of guys who are in so many leagues, they have to do theirs the weekend or two before. We want to make sure you have the rankings available for when you sit down to your draft. So we're kind of pushing our schedule up a week from tradition, which gives us a second week to do another roundtable, which we'll probably do this year, provided the guys don't book something. That's what's going to happen, you know. I can say this freely because Sean never listens to the cast unless he's on it. No. Guarantee. Like roundtables in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Oh, I totally forgot.
Yeah, I got to bring the kid to a tea party. The dog sneezed. I have to pick my wife up from the airport. I have to go to another tea party.
I think, have we ever considered the possibility he has a second family?
You know, I would hope. It sounds weird, but if he did, that would at least explain everything.
That's what I mean. It's not in his personality, you know? He's not a deceitful person by nature.
Right.
But if it came out that he had a second family, it would all make sense.
It would. It would explain so much. So much.
I'm just going to ask him point blank. I'm going to text him after we're done here. Sean, do you have a second family? Because Craig and I were talking. It would make a lot of sense. Make a lot of sense. You know what would make a lot of sense for you folks? To help us out by leaving us a review wherever you listen to us. You find us on most of the podcast directories, including Apple. The one I always forget to mention is you may be watching or listening to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Leave us a review. Leave us a rating. It really helps us a lot, and it helps us to make the podcast even better. And you know what makes even more sense than doing that is reaching out to us. Draft is coming. You might have keeper questions. If you do, reach out to us. You can find us at fignutsdfs@gmail.com. Again, fignutsdfs dfs@gmail.com. We will answer your email. If it's good, we'll even discuss it on the air. But that is one thing we have always done on this podcast. If you write us and you're not trying to sell me something, you get a response from either Craig or I. Every time. Yeah. Every time. You're not dealing with some guy who's, oh, this is an intern. Hi, I'm David, the intern. The guys aren't here, but if they were here, they would tell you to draft Aaron Rodgers. None of that shit. You will get an email signed by me or Craig, and sometimes both. Sometimes we both put our thoughts into an email. When a good question comes in, I will text Craig. Somebody's thinking about this keeper or that keeper, and they can only do one. And Craig will text back like, ooh, that's tough. And then we'll have a conversation and we answer. So, yeah, email us. We'd love to hear your questions. Love to hear your questions. So, all right. Go get some rest, old friend. Right. I think we will be back. We're probably not back next week because next week will probably be our last off week of season 8. Yeah. But we'll see. Stuff happens. We'll be here. But we'll be back, and then it'll be season 9 before you know it, guys.
Yeah, crazy.
So
crazy. Well,
thank you all for listening. A very big hi to Deb. I didn't forget to put that in there yet this time, so I didn't have to scramble at the end. But a hi to Deb, and we will talk to you guys very soon. Until we do, my name is Britt.
My name is Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.